special city council meeting for the town of Horizon City is now in session. Please rise and recite the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, good evening, everyone. Nice to see everybody here. And members of the public, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here with us. Open forum, we do not have anybody here signed up to speak at open forum. So we do have a quorum, so we can move on to our consent agenda, please.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve,
I second.
and before you call the council, I forgot to turn on my microphone. There you go. Please call the council.
Porter,
All right.
Quiroz,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Randall,
Aye.
Urrutia,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Mendoza.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On to item number, we're going to move item number 9 up. We have a guest, that's gonna be joining us via, virtual meeting. So if everybody's okay with it, we're gonna take item number 9 now. This is a discussion and action item, and this is, regarding the arbitrage study completed by Hilltop Securities and authorizing payment of the required yield reduction payments, by the town of Horizon City.
Evening, Council. LAGERGREN, Finance Director. So,
I don't know if that microphone is on. Is that one still connected?
Yep.
Yes? No.
yes,
Got it? There we go.
maybe it's just me. Good evening, Council and Mayor, LAGERGREN, Finance Director. If you recall, several months ago, we engaged Hilltop Securities Asset Management to perform a arbitrage study on our bonds. And so this is the result of that study. And the result of the study really only affects our 2019 bond. So this is what I'm covering on this presentation. So this is a computation of the yield reduction payment computation for the period June 11, 2019 to June 11, 2024. The yield restriction amount was calculated with the computation of the yield reduction amount, which covers the investment of gross proceeds from June 11, 2022, which is known as the end of the temporary period, through June 11, 2024, the installment computation date. The yield reduction amount was based on information provided regarding the issuance of the obligations and the investment of the gross proceeds, as well as other information deemed necessary under the circumstances. So this is the result of that study. The summary of the yield restriction amount was based on the actual interest earnings of $488,001.50, and the allowable interest earnings on materially higher bond yield, $307,172.40. Therefore, the cumulative yield reduction payment due to the IRS is $180,829.10. Just for your information, this is a result of earning more money than the yield restriction on the bond. The bond was purchased at a rate of 2.67, and we've earned about 200 basis points higher than that in interest. The payment for this will come out of the interest earnings on the bond.
So if we, to understand, if we earn more than a set amount, then we have to repay, does it go back to the principal?
We pay that to the IRS.
Just the IRS.
Yes. There was also another study done regarding the rebate amount. On the same bond, there was a rebate computation for the period of June 11, 2019. This one's a little bit different, and the period that was, included in this, calculation was the, issuance date, which is June 11, 2019, and it ran through, June 11, 2024. The rebate was based on the same information provided, regarding the issuance of the obligation and the investments of the gross proceeds, as well as other information deemed necessary for the circumstances. And on this, on the rebatable arbitrage, the actual interest earnings for the period was $746,946.83, and the allowable interest at bond yield was $1,078,233.64. So the cumulative rebatable amount is a credit of $331,286.81, so therefore there's no payment due on this, on the rebate portion. And we will, the consultants will continue to do this on an annual basis so that, we can be aware of the potential, rebatable amount, or I'm sorry, the yield restriction amount, and the amount that's due to the IRS, so that we can make sure that, we take that into account when we are investing our funds and the money that we use to, towards the bond proceeds, the bond proceeds that we use toward the construction and all the other projects that are allocated for that bond.
So we have the repayment amount.
Yes.
Can we use that from the, I shouldn't call it excess, but we'll call it excess interest that we made?
Yes.
So it's kind of a wash.
It is a
But
wash.
it's not coming out of our budget.
No, it's not.
Thank you.
This is payable out of the interest that's earned.
And the credits can't apply because it's a different bond?
Right. They did come up with, I believe, about $11,000 credit on the 880. It could have been 196,000.
Is this a new requirement by the treasury?
No, actually, it's something that we should be doing annual basis. It's by that code that you see down there at the bottom, the IRS code 1.148-3. So this was also done on the 2014 bond issue, but there was no arbitrage amount due on that one.
This was due to the change in interest rate.
Yes.
Interest rate
Right,
went
the
up,
interest rates were lower at that time.
and then they went up, we earned more than.
Right. So we'll be doing this continuously for all three bond issues going forward.
Are there any other questions from council? Okay. Well, no, item 9. So, is there a motion to accept the presentation?
What is, should most do?
Just to accept the presentation,
report or
the report
to
itself.
authorize the payment?
Well, both.
It should be both, because even though the money is just coming from the interest earnings, that's a lot of money, so we need to have a public record of the council having approved returning that money to the IRS.
I move that we approve the report and, make the necessary repayment to the.
The stated amount on this report.
I'll second the motion.
So we have a motion and a second. Could you please poll the council?
Miller,
Aye.
Quiroz,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Renteria,
Aye.
Urrutia, Padilla,
Aye.
Mendoza.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Back to item number 6. This is on a resolution, it's a discussion action item. This is on a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with NCO for construction management services for municipal facilities phase 1 in an amount not to exceed $350,000.
Council, good evening. Terry Quesada, Capital Improvement Program Manager. This item authorizes an agreement with Exigo Architecture as a construction manager for the municipal facilities phase 1, which is police headquarters and municipal court and council chambers. The agreement includes materials testing and inspection services throughout the project construction with specialized firms who will be conducting inspections for architectural elements, structural elements, mechanical, plumbing, electrical. The testing services will be performed by Terracon. Construction administration services, which support the CIP functions to include the review of requests for information, change orders, pay applications, All of that will also be carried out by Exigo. And also included in this project proposal, because this is a complex project, the city requested a management system, a software management system, so that we can share information more efficiently, and be able to track, for example, when requests for information come in from contractor, when the consultant has responded, when the city has approved change orders, and that way it's in one consolidated system. So that is also included in the proposal. Staff is recommending approval. Mr. Mesca, who is from Exigo, is here as well, should you have any specific questions. This is coming from the municipal facilities budget that is funded through the 2023 certificates of obligation.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions?
On the software that you're purchasing, is this a one-time deal, or are we gonna be able to utilize this software on future projects?
It is a one-time deal, it is for this project.
Are there any other questions from council?
Who's the designer?
Exigo.
Exigo.
Exigo is also the consultant, yes.
Mayor, we need to make note of the fact that Mr. Miller is going to be abstaining from the vote, making this a matter of public record because of his employment situation with Terracon.
Yes. Is there any other questions? No? Is there a motion? We have a motion.
Second.
To approve? And a second. Please poll the council.
Abstain.
Quiroz,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Renville,
Aye.
Urrutia, Padilla,
Aye.
Mendoza.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
And on to item number 7, discussion and action. This is on a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the interlocal agreement between the Horizon Regional Municipal Utility District, HR MUD, and the town of Horizon City for reimbursement of actual design expenses in connection with the construction of a sewer service line to be installed as part of the city's municipal facilities Phase 1 project in form and substance substantially similar to the document attached to this resolution.
Council, good evening, Terry Quesada, Capital Improvement Program Manager. As we are coordinating with the HR MUD for the new service installations, they advised us that the sewer line is on the northbound lanes of Darrington, so it requires a cut across Darrington to provide the service to municipal facilities. We explored this further, and in problem solving it, what we determined is that it would be expeditious and advantageous for the city to enter into an agreement with the HR MUD. Their engineer will design that service line for the city, and this is the reimbursement that we are requesting. They designed the lines that are to be replaced as part of the North Darrington reconstruction project, so it makes sense that they designed this as well for the town. And then our plan is to submit that design to TxDOT and to their contractor so that they will do that as part of the North Darrington reconstruction. We believe that we can get this done to where it does not negatively impact either of the projects. And again, we have confidence that the HR MUD will be able to design this in a manner that is effective for the town and again, that meets the schedules for both projects. The cost is $12,000. This has already been discussed at the HR MUD at their engineering committee meeting. They're having a special meeting next week. We expect that they will consider this interlocal agreement at the time as well, so that they can turn their design team loose on this, and they will coordinate with our design and with TxDOT as well. So staff recommends approval of this interlocal agreement.
Thank you, Doctor. Are there any questions from council? No. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Could you please hold the council?
Miller,
Aye.
Quiroz,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Renville,
Aye.
Urrutia, Padilla,
Aye.
Mendoza.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Doctor.
Item number 8, this is a discussion and action item. This is on a resolution approving the Horizon City Economic Development Corporation's fiscal year 24-25 budget.
Garcia, Executive Director for the EDC. So today's presentation is simply to give you a little overview of some of the projects that the EDC has been working, and then an overview of the budget that we're proposing to you all for approval. This budget has gone to the EDC already, and it was approved by the EDC, and it's here before you for your approval as well. Again, the request is to approve the HEDC's fiscal year 2025 budget. And one of the things that we've been doing at the EDC is working with our partners. Again, we're working with Project Vida, Lit Fund, the Texas Workforce Commission. So we're gonna have an event here pretty soon, August 8th, which with Project Vida, where we're gonna provide some training for some of the folks out here. And you'll see, you're gonna either the next slide or a few slides down. You know, that's what people are asking us for, because we went out there and did a poll to see what the business community is looking for. So again, this training, it's free workshops for the folks that are out here, from the businesses, because we do know that there's a lot of business that's gonna move into the town of Horizon City here in the near future. And so we wanna make sure that the business that we have in place right now are able to handle the business that's coming away. So it's a business marketing. We're gonna have a series of these low interest loans, what people can do essentially. But we're on target with what it is that we're doing. Again, this is our survey that we sent out. You know, we sent this out to the business community. And again, what they're asking us to do is again to have the finance and budgeting training. As you can see in this area here, it's 45% of what it is that they're looking for. Marketing is something else. You know, again, the other thing that they're looking for is physical space. It's one of the things that we're lacking right now in the town of Horizon City for some of these retail businesses, and we're also working that at the EDC. Again, we're working on doing some infill. You know, these parcels are in the center of the city. This is a property that the council sold, and it's in the process of getting developed now. This is Project Oxbow, or Pauline Oxbow, is within those two streets. So the developer is in process of connecting all of those water lines. He's getting ready to go vertical. He believes that he can have that building for us by March of next year. So again, to remind you what that looks like, it's a 25,000 square foot building, and it's gonna be 2,500 square foot office spaces. With the EDC's intent is to buy that. Again, I brought that before you, and you'll see that in tonight's budget. And now you're gonna see the impact on the EDC's reserves. So it's a $3.1 million investment, again, in the center of the city. And this should definitely help all of the TERS that you have right now to start generating some income for the TERS, so you can utilize those dollars as well, and that financing mechanism. So again, we do have an agreement with these folks. We're paying at $28,000 a year for the next 4 years, which is small compared to the $15 million that the developer is going to invest in this piece of property here. So it should be coming here on board pretty quickly here. There may be some lag time for the EDC. There may be a point where we're gonna have to let go of our lease where we're at right now, because it terminates in April. So, you know, we may be working from here. We're asking the city to provide us some office space, you know, just to have some visibility at the city while we get. So we don't have to renew our lease where we're at right now. That's like a $45,000 lease. They're going up 10% every time we do new lease extensions. Again, the other thing that we're working for is we're trying to get some electric vehicle chargers. They're coming to the town of Horizon City. Recently, we found out that the city of El Paso partnered with the county and a bunch of other entities, you know, throughout the county. And unfortunately for the Horizon, you know, we were left out of it. You know, it has to do a lot with our incomes. And so they were targeting, you know, these populations that had lower income, but in Horizon City, our income tends to be in the $60,000 range for our area here. But so now we're working on getting some EV chargers here. Trying to make it where the city doesn't have to come up with a 20% match on this. We're working with different partners that will match that 20% and invest in having those EV chargers here. We think it's really important for the city to have these here as we move forward. So we're looking at 30 sites across the city. The EV chargers will be held by the individual properties for 5 years. And the revenue, there's a potential for the city to capture some of that revenue where we decide to maintain it and keep it for ourselves. Or we can just turn it over to the partner that's investing the 20% for the city. So So we're trying to make it, again, where the city isn't investing in any of these dollars. You should see a resolution here in the near future coming to you all, for you, for approval, so that we can continue moving forward to apply for that grant. Again, this is a grant that we have to apply for, for the federal government. So it's about $15 million that the city received last year. But again, we think it's very important that we're not left out of the discussion, and make sure that we have these EV chargers here for the community, for those that use electric vehicles. The other project that we're working on is a project that I remember having before I came to the town of Horizon City. This is La Novelera. Been working this project for the last 3-4 years, but it looks like we're getting ready to start building here in our industrial park. That you all invested $5 million into those ponding areas, and that's the reason that I can tell you that why they purchased those pieces of property. There's about 20 acres that they purchased. They're gonna invest about $15 million, 100,000 square feet. There's 2 phases that they're gonna bring this way, so eventually it looks like $20 million that they're going to invest in this area. Again, this should happen late 2024, Q4. And really what they do is they just process pecans, different nuts for the US. They do this in Mexico as well, but one of their biggest clients, which is Costco, is asking them to have a US presence, which is why they're looking at moving here to the town of Horizon. So it's pretty good. The fact, that they're moving over here to Horizon City is just awesome. It's something that the city will have to compete it for, and they didn't get, but Horizon City was able to get that. This is the area that they purchased in your industrial park. Again, these are the ponding areas that you all invested in. Again, very important for them to not have to do that and to be able to pond, to have their water move to that area. Again, this is a property that's located furthest south here in Horizon City. It's about 350 acre parcel. It is up for sale. We're working with a broker. We've talked to several people. So that's one of the other things that we're doing. We're going out to the community, talking to all these brokers, making sure that they know that Horizon City's here and that we have land here. So it's exciting, right? One of the things that we're missing for this particular piece of property is the second point of access. We've known that for a while. We've been working with the county. They're potentially going to provide us with their county impact fund to help us, get that road that sits on city, that sits in the county portion of the city, right? It's not in our municipality, that road, that second point of access would be here to the south. We have a point of access from the north. We just need a second point of access from the south. This is again 350 acres. It's zoned industrial. We've had several hits with people that are looking at purchasing this property and actually building it. And I'm working right now with a potential manufacturing company, and there's a high likelihood that I'll bring it into executive session here, so you all can make a decision on that piece of property as to whether or not that's something that we would provide an incentive on. It's something that I have to meet with the owners at this point. I'll do that next week, but if it does come to fruition, I'll bring it here to the city council so you all can review as well.
Where is this?
This is Mr. Lynch.
Again, we're talking about a lot of real estate acquisition. The EDC is working with the city to start purchasing land within the TOD. I think one of the things you need to remember about the TOD and the TERS is if you don't own the land, it's going to be very, very difficult to develop because there's a lot of fractured ownership. The idea is to go in there and acquire some of these parcels, and you're just not going to get the development that you're looking for. And if you do it, it'll take a very, very long time. So we're focusing right here in the center of the development to acquire some of these properties through a landowner in this area. Again, this is property that the city already purchased, and these are properties that we're looking at purchasing here in the near future. I know Terry's working on getting some of that stuff done with the ARPA funds, and I'll get with her, but I'm taking the lead, the EDC's taking the lead on working with the landowner in this area to purchase property under the city, and eventually the EDC will also purchase some property in there as well with our reserve funds. The other thing that we're working on is trying to get a hotel into this area. Unfortunately for us, some of these properties, especially those that are closer to Darrington, they're extremely expensive, which makes developing extremely difficult for somebody to go out there and buy the property. Some of these properties are going for like between $16.50, $17, all the way to $20 per square foot. And so it's significant the amount of dollars that an investor has to put in it. So we're working on getting the hot tax, I'm working with legal to get that through, to make sure that we can incentivize this, hotelier, with the hot tax and rebate that, potentially over a 10-year period. Again, that's something that we're working with. I think the big hangup with that particular project is the purchase of land that you would have to do. So, it's something that I think we're really close, and we can have something here in Horizon in terms of having a hotel. We're also working on land annexation, to our east. So, one of the things that we need to do is get in front of the GLO. We've tried contacting the GLO several times, trying to get in front of them. It's been extremely difficult. We're in the process of working with a consultant that has indicated to us that he can get us in front of leadership at the GLO. It's our understanding that he's done that for Hunt, which is another major developer, so that's why we're following that lead to see if we can pitch what it is that we're doing out there. We've got an interested land developer in that area, HZ Ventures. They're looking at trying to, they have land out there that's within the city. We're also looking at annexing portions of what belongs to the GLO and some of their land as well to increase our footprint, out to the east. Again, it's challenging, getting in front of the GLO and getting in front of decision makers. So more likely than not, I'm gonna bring something before you, so that you can give me the go ahead to sign a contract with this consultant to move it forward. I need to take that to the EDC first, and finalize the agreement with this, consultant to this, The other thing that we're working is trying to get family entertainment into the area. We have been working with something they call, an adventure type park to come into Horizon City. These people are just waiting on there being more people here in Horizon, so that they can try to look at what they could potentially be in Horizon. Unfortunately for these, or sometimes fortunately, these require large 30,000 square foot buildings, because it's kind of like the kids play. You see the picture here. They can tumble. They can get on ropes and laser tags. So it's a pretty big park, but we're working with them to see what it is that we can do. There's another sport training facility that's looking at Horizon to do family entertainment. It's a baseball type. They have, you can go out there and hit the ball in a building. We're also working with a brewery to try to bring that into Horizon City. Again, the challenge is the cost of land, and it's going up. But we're working diligently to see what else we can bring into Horizon City. And so, the budget, when you look at the sales tax revenue in terms of the EDC, this is just EDC dollars that are coming our way. You can see that it's not slowly, it's been going up steadily. Last year we received about 678,000. Right now we're at 539,000. So we believe we're on track to continue to see an increase in our revenues here in the Horizon City area. Again, these are just our administrative expenses. It doesn't include salaries. There's just a different breakdown of our expenditures, our maintenance requirements. What you're gonna see is in the budget in a little bit is how by us going to a different building, we're not gonna have that rent, that lease, that rent anymore. But we're gonna have other costs in that new building. But this is an overview of our salaries. That totals about $308,000. And so this is the budget itself. Again, I kept it as much unchanged as I possibly could. There are some increases. Again, the city attorney's office, or the city attorney, or the attorney that we utilize. The water went up because we're gonna start paying our own water now when we're moving to the new building. So we're anticipating that we're gonna have to pay that now. The electricity is also gonna go up. you'll see that. And we're accounting for those, for the down payment that we need to give, to get into, to get light into it. So we're accounting for a whole bunch of stuff, when we move in the furnishings, and the cost of utilities, the cost of landscaping, the cost of trash service for the new building. So here, what you're gonna see is, the different incentives. We're still working with the Border Cuts Alliance. We met with them, this week, or really last week. They gave us great, an overview of all the projects they're working in the region, and they're working with us to see what else we can bring into the Horizon City area. Arms, again, it's important that we have a pulse on what's happening at Port Bliss, and we're able to, pivot quickly if there's anything that we need in terms of housing for the soldiers in the area. Incentives, again, that's $90,000, but of that, we're gonna pay about $28,000 to, the development the $3.1 million development here in Oxford College. And so what's different this year is the $80,000, so, there's new office construction that's gonna take place, so we're gonna build the offices in there instead of taking up cubicle spaces. $12,000, for new office furnishings, and then $618,000, that's the cost of the building itself, which is what you see here. So you're gonna see it's not a balanced budget because of these last three items, is what you'll see. But as far as the budget itself, without these additional, line items there, it is a balanced budget. I'm careful, as I'm doing the budget to ensure that when we get the Albertsons in here, that I don't start seeing negative numbers in our monthly sales tax revenue. So we're looking at that carefully. And I'll adjust throughout the year if I have to make sure that I only see the budget that's going our way, because I do know that we're gonna get an Albertsons, and that's leakage for us in terms of sales tax revenue. Again, this is just a budget summary, $648,000. With our capital budget, our administration, not including staffing and our salaries, $648,000. Last year you saw it was $678,000, so we're $30,000 below what it was last year. But again, the bigger increase is gonna be in the one-time reserve draw that we have at the moment. And with that, council, I'll take any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, I appreciate it. Are there any questions from council?
I just
Thank you,
wanted to be clear, we're gonna
critical
own
part of
this.
this.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, we're gonna own this
You're
building.
gonna own this building out.
And is it gonna be, standalone, or is it gonna be connected to the
It's a
others?
standalone building. It's a separate office, 2,500 square foot office. So there'll be two 2,500 square foot offices, and then a 20 or 25,000, it's in the presentation.
25,000.
So it's a 25,000 one larger building. And it's my understanding of working with the developer right now, and he's just gonna give us the land, the building, and it's up to us to maintain it, which is why you see me accounting for having to do my own landscaping and all the maintenance on that piece of property. But it's still, in the long run, it's still less to go out there and buy the building over time. They can continue to get 10% increases every 2-3 years in the $42,000 rent that we pay now. So, it's consistently increasing. And you also run the danger that they just don't pay the lease. Not that they would do that, but you always have to anticipate that something like that can happen. Yes, sir.
No, I just wanna say what you brought to, the EDC would have brought to, what you all have brought to Horizon City has been a very worthwhile investment.
Yeah, it's been great working with the city. I've got a great team, and I hope I can keep them for as long as I can.
It's an exciting time to be here in Horizon.
It really is.
It really is. So, a lot of things headed this way. Yes, sir.
Just one question, it's, on the sales tax, when does it go back to the voters again?
It goes back to the voters.
Does it go back, like what we have for the street fund?
The reserve part of it?
No, to authorize the sales tax for another so many years.
I think it's
Perpetual?
It's fixed.
yeah. There's some things that you would have to follow to undo it.
We have have to do it for streets, but we don't have to do it for EDC.
Right, yeah.
So it's perpetual?
I don't think it's perpetual, but I think there's a contract, I think there's a resolution of ordinance that you all, when you created it, and there are steps in there that you would need to take to undo the EDC. Essentially, what you need to do is undo the EDC. If that's what you're asking. Right?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if it's,
Yeah, so at this point, it's perpetual, unless you decide otherwise.
that's even better.
Are there any other questions from council? No?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a second to that motion. Can you please poll the council?
Miller,
Aye.
Quiros,
Aye.
Ortega,
Aye.
Rangel,
Aye.
Urrutia, Padilla,
Aye.
Mendoza.
Aye. Motion
Thank
carries.
you, Council.
Thank you so much.
Okay, item number 10, this is a workshop on the proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget.
Get ready, everyone. We're in for a long one.
Good evening, council, Lydia Gagnon, finance director. This is the proposed budget for the property tax budget and for property tax rate for 2025. Just for your information, we're gonna have the ordinance introductions on the August 13th, 2024 meeting. The budget hearing will be on August 27th, and the tax rate public hearing will be September 10th. So the components of the operating budget include the general fund, which provides for the funding via property tax, sales tax, franchise fees, and permits and other revenues. And it provides for maintenance of existing facilities and equipment, day-to-day operations conducted by the town staff. The debt service provides funding via the property tax revenue for interest on outstanding debt due within the fiscal year, for principal payments on debt due with the fiscal year, and other costs for servicing the debt. The street fund provides for funding via a 1/4 cent sales tax for maintenance of streets existing at the time of the voter referendum. And the initial vote in 2013, renewed in 2017, and May 2021. The Transportation Reimbursement Zone Fund, which is funding for road improvements via taxes and property improvements within the zone. And the Special Event Fund provides for the holiday events sponsored by the town. So this table represents the revenues and expenditures by fund. For 2025, we're seeing revenues of $16,150,313. That's an increase over last year of $207,821. For expenditures, we're totaling $16,290,445. It's an increase of $347,973. And you can see that we have, that's a misnomer, it says excess revenue, but we actually have a shortfall of $140,132. The general fund budget assumptions include the following for expenses. Non-payroll related expenses held at fiscal year 2024 levels are increased as necessary based on history. Although the collective bargaining agreement has not been approved by council, the proposed salary schedule for all officers covered by the agreement has been incorporated into the police department budget. We also incorporated a 3% across the board increase to salaries for others not included in the CBA, and a minimum increase to employee health benefits expenses, assuming the pending renewal rates. The TMRS rate this year decreased from 5.46 to 5.25. That's the recommended rate that TMRS issues to us. That's effective January 2025. We are proposing the town contribute 5.60%. That's the same rate that we did in fiscal year 2024, and the budget incorporates that amount. The addition of employees and related expenses is still under review. The request for additional positions have been made by the Public Safety Police Department, Public Safety Dispatch Department, and the Planning Department. There also have been some requests to additional requests that have been made to increase salaries for some existing positions, and those are also under review. On sales tax, We incorporate a 6% increase over the fiscal year 2024 revenues. Franchise fees, most were based on the fiscal year 2023 revenues. And the ESD or Emergency Service District revenues, are per agreements based on the estimated average cost of a communication specialist. The building permits, revenues based on an estimated 2025 revenue, plus the estimated fees on 500 new homes projected to be built in fiscal year 2025. Based on information from the planning and building staff, the new homes are an average fee of $1,300, will result in an increase in revenues of $650,000. They actually, planning actually projected 1,000 new homes, but we only projected 500 to be built in this year. The citation and fines, those were based on our annualized 2023 revenues, and miscellaneous revenues were also based on 2023 annualized revenues. This also includes the vector control, revenues of $32,616. I know I'm reading along fast, but if you have any questions, let me know.
I thought you were gonna get through and then we'll ask.
Okay.
You can ask questions.
No, let it.
Okay, oh, there we go. For the general fund, this is our revenue summary. We're projecting that our, total revenue is gonna be $10,866,000. And our revenues from last year were $10,422,000. Of course, our property taxes makes up the highest percentage of revenues at 27.4. Our sales taxes at 26.7, and our building and inspecting fees at 9.8 increase. Our expenditures by function for the general fund include salaries and personnel services and everything that we consider M&O expenses. Of course, the highest salaries and benefits being at 60.9%. And our maintenance expenses are at, looks like 10.3, and our contracted services are 10.9. The contracted services include our park maintenance contract and our health services contract with the city of El Paso. This just gives you a pie chart of the same information, showing the bulk of it coming from salaries and benefits. So this is a table that shows you where we determine the general fund increase for over the 2024 budget. So if we start out with the 2024 budget, that was at $10,422,240. We had one amendment, but that was just between departments, so that just was an in and out amount of $13,000 in and out. So our revised budget stays the same. We have a merit increase of $75,790, that's the 3%. And the increase to the public safety salaries for the CBA renewal is $187,971. Last year, just to give you a perspective, those two amounts were about $365,000. 365. So this is a lot lower. Our net increase in capital costs is $146,861. Our increase in elections, since we're having an election next year, is $75,621. And we had a $13,000 increase in our mass transit contribution. And the estimated increase in public health and environmental contract over the budgeted amount for 2024 is $64,546. The net effect of other changes is $11,505. That gives you additional expenses of $575,294. For our debt service, there was actually it's a decrease, I apologize for that. But our 2024 budget for that was $2,953,123. This year is $3,005,121. Largely due to that new bond issue for the 2023 certificates of obligation, which the payment next year will be $49,986 greater than the year before. For the components of the tax rate, the M&O maintenance and operations, which is for maintenance of existing facilities and equipment, day-to-day operations conducted by the town's staff. The INS interest and sinking funds is interest on debt due within the fiscal year and the principal payments as well. This is the 2024 certified totals from the tax office, and you can see that, the taxable value of all the property is the third line down, is $1,582,478,555. So this gives you the comparison between 2024 and 2025 tax rates. The valuation increased by $145,202,578. That's about a 10.10% increase. Our property tax rates actually only went up by about 0.84%, from 3.59978 to 0.363016. Our debt service actually went down by 8.47%, and it's now at 1.96346. That's a total of 0.559362, which is actually 2.63 decrease from the prior year's tax rate. So our non-revenue tax rate is 0.557469, and we usually adopt the voter approval rate to avoid a voter referendum. So our voter approval rate and adopted rate is proposed at 0.559362. On an average home, this is according to the tax office, or the Central Appraisal District, excuse me. The average home is valued at $193,522. That's an increase from the prior year of $17,616 in valuation. And the taxes would increase by $71.93. On the low end, a $78,000 home, the taxes would decrease by $10.59. And on the high end, a $300,000 home, the tax would decrease by $45.30. Okay. Any questions?
That was a paper. Questions?
Okay,
Yeah, they're taking us to the clinic.
That way everybody's on the same page.
But I listened to, the presentation from CAD at the county, commissioners court meeting on Monday. And, all these formulas and all this stuff, they claim is dictated by the state, and they're just following the procedures of the state, and they're supposed to be using market value and blah, 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 blah. So we'll never be able to, devalue our homes.
That's true.
Wow.
Other questions so far?
alright, so we're gonna go through each individual.
I just figured that was a good stopping point because there was a lot of information that was thrown out there, so I don't know if you
You wanna
wanna,
start at the beginning?
if you wanna continue, or if you wanna go ahead
Well,
and.
continue, but I had specific questions, and I don't know if we're gonna go, I can ask them, public health contract. Do we have any idea what it's gonna be, have they responded?
They did. Elvia and I were very surprised.
Yeah.
It came in and, they given us an estimate, it still has to go through their final review, but it's at 221,000.
I just suppose.
So it's about, I think it was 10,000 more than the revised one from last year.
Okay.
Is that what you have in here, the 220?
No, I don't. I have, actually, I overestimated, I put in 236,000.
So you're whittling away at this 140?
Yes,
Yeah, they're,
slowly but surely.
and then other fees go up, so we, yeah.
I had a question.
When you put in your number for, your revenue numbers for fines and citations, is that
Oh, I'm sorry.
fines and citations?
Yes,
Is that assessed or collected?
collected.
Yes, sir.
Just on the mass transit contribution, that's not gonna increase, right?
Actually, what happened is that last year we budgeted 100,000. It came in at 87,800.
Okay.
And, this year, we're estimating 100,000 again. I understand that they're gonna be hiring a executive director. So the, speculation is that contribution is probably gonna go above what it was last year, so that's why we're budgeting the 100,000.
And have you heard anything on that related to the fact that, Socorro is talking about dropping out of this.
Well, that's
They
why
are.
that's
They
why
are.
that's why we increased it
Yeah,
back to the
It's
100,000.
100, it might be more.
And it might be more.
Actually, Sycamore never joined, so they've never, they've
But they
never,
were allocated expenses, so, no, never allocated
no,
expenses.
they would never join, so they're the only people.
I have a question based on your, my first question anyway. On the cover memo, where you talk about additional employees and related expenses are still under review. Who's doing the review and what kind of review are you doing? And are we fully staffed as we are now?
We actually have 86 active employees and we have 10 vacancies.
10 vacancies. In which departments?
In public safety, police, public safety dispatch, planning, HR, or administration.
And the review is
The review is-
And the review
myself
is
and,
under the
and
mayors, yes.
myself and, the, department heads.
When will that be resolved?
Next week, we should have an answer to those, and then we will send out, well, once the adjustments are made here, we'll send them out for you.
Yeah, we'll include them in the August 27th presentation.
I have another question.
Yes, sir.
The 3%, does that also include what we had, I guess, compromised with the dispatchers?
With the what?
With the dispatchers and bringing them up to,
All the dispatchers?
yes.
No, it does not. We increased their hourly rates. They currently still have 3 openings in their department. They're having a hard time still retaining, even with that increase in the hourly rate.
So historically, I think the past 3 years, we've done 5%, and this year we're going 3% there because of that shortfall. We knew that there was gonna be some constraints on the city, so we went ahead with the 3% rather than 5%.
Overall, you're talking about?
Overall, yes.
So what is the proposed tax increase?
The tax increase, actually, it's actually a
It's a drop.
decrease.
Is that
Tax rate increase.
2.63% decrease from last year. The debt service is the one that went down the most.
I was looking at where the 3% went in, and on some of the departments, it seemed like it was more. Is that because of some adjustments that have been done prior to adding the
Prior to
3%?
that, yes.
Or,
Yes.
I have one question on streets. I know you can
What page are you on?
I'm on page 11. The notes say that the equipment that you're buying for street is replacement for the crack sealing machine?
No,
That's what the notes say. But what
Correct,
is
no.
the equipment?
that's incorrect. I will go ahead and
Okay.
correct it, yeah.
What is it for then?
So basically, it would be to purchase, other equipment. At this point, I'm actually looking in purchasing a rover to do inspection for the drainage pipes. So I'll go ahead and make, that, correction.
You
A
want the-
rover.
A who?
Rover.
A
yes.
rover for drainage
So
pipes.
basically, it would be a,
Kind of like an X-ray?
no,
Is
yeah,
that-
it's like a small motor vehicle with a camera. So
Oh,
basically, we're just,
To go through the
control,
drainage
control,
pipe.
yeah, correct, yes. Yeah,
It's a what?
so it's a remote control, a small truck with a camera. So basically, we can drive it into we can
Drainage.
control it into the pipes to see if there's any issues with cracks. So that's one of the equipment that I'm actually, additional equipment that I'm looking, to purchase, next fiscal year.
Okay. And is that gonna cost $180,000?
It won't, that's not for.
Okay,
one.
or is that the equipment you actually had under stormwater?
No, no, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but yeah, like I said, we'll make those adjustments, next meeting.
Do you know how much it's gonna cost?
Roughly, we're looking at around, anywhere from 20 to 30,000.
Chipping away, chipping away. Yes, sir.
Are we still using cold mix to, patch up the potholes?
Yes. Cold mix and hot mix, yes.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions up to this point?
I had a question, another question, on, planning. Planning. The salaries seem to be short.
Yes,
Is okay.
No, it's not okay.
So we're chipping away, but something's been left out here, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And there, as you know, the HR manager helps with the data entry on the salaries.
Right.
At the point that she stopped is because she didn't know what the final decision was on what to budget that position for. And then she never went back and put it in. And I didn't notice it until after I'd already printed the books, so, but, so we're going back up again.
Oh. Chipping away.
Chipping away, we're gonna find it, don't worry.
This is a work in
Yeah.
progress in many respects.
Yes, sir.
I have a question on the collective bargaining agreement.
Yes, sir.
It's not yet been signed. What is
What's the
the status of the collective bargaining agreement?
I'm sorry?
The status of the collective bargaining.
Oh, the collective bargaining, I have spoken to the other side, they have conceptually agreed. We're exchanging the final documents and we should have it ready for you all even next week.
It would have been nice to have it before this, but I understand.
It was a long process this time. But that number itself, if you go, what page was it?
Yes, we saw them.
Yeah, so you'll see,
What it is. Just
next
don't-
year-
Just don't know what it applies to.
so next year, that increase, so this increase will be every other year.
If the clip was on here right, it would have.
We will have that fixed for you by next meeting. Actually,
Okay,
for all
my
the-
next question has to do with IT. Yes, there's 50,000 here for software. What is that for? Since most software is SaaS, software is a service, it's not anything that you purchase and keep.
Give me a
What was
page
the amount?
number.
50,000.
50,000, oh.
Yes, yeah, that's not,
Yeah, that was the contingency, we're looking at, that's considered a contingency, we're looking at software for a upgrade to the website. We estimate the cost is gonna be about 27,000 and then 50,000 in case there's something else that comes up.
I guess my point is software, nobody owns software anymore. So it can't be a capital expenditure.
Oh, I see what you're
Okay,
saying.
I guess that's
Oh,
really
okay.
my point,
The
it needs to be,
categorization is incorrect.
yeah. Unless I'm wrong about this software. I don't know what kind it is. But pretty much all software makers have found it, they make more money by renting it to us.
yeah. So, so we
This is
have,
a perpetual maintenance on it.
yes. So this would be for the redesign of the city website to make it more user-friendly. And so it'll be a complete redesign of everything to incorporate the camera systems, the new camera systems that we have. So. Okay. You wanna proceed from where you were at that
That's all I have.
That one, that was it? Okay. Are there any other questions?
Yes, next week will be a balanced budget.
Yes. That's our intent.
I had a question about the special fund.
Okay.
Where I can find it, wherever,
Which
the
fund?
special events. If I can recall, we were supposed to be taking over,
The
the
Christmas parade?
Christmas parade, and I didn't see any sort of revenue for that.
Because it looks like it went up, right? Is that what you were looking at? That it, instead of,
I gotta
for the
find
Christmas
it.
parade?
Special event.
Page 38.
Page 5.
38.
No, that's not it.
Special events fund?
Yeah, that's it.
Currently, that's only the fireworks display that we have. I didn't budget anything for the parade.
Yeah, we haven't budgeted anything there because we're still in the process of getting the partnerships together with the volunteers and trying to get those numbers together for that parade itself. Since this was our first go-around, we are gonna need the help of some of the volunteers over at the senior center that actually ran it last year. The expenditures and the expenses for that were actually covered through the registration fees that were covered. So, from last year's, I don't have numbers yet from them as to what last year's numbers were.
So, I have a question. It's on the Christmas parade. Cause they have it under public safety, the Christmas parade. From 2,300, it went up to 4,000. It's gonna go up to 4,000, 4,800.
Where are you looking at?
Page 13.
That's just the expenses related to.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, but what happened to the revenue coming in from us taking over the parade?
I don't have
Okay,
those
we don't
numbers
have
from
those numbers yet.
Yeah, I don't have
So
those
are
numbers.
we gonna be adjusting this budget as well? Or, I mean, you're gonna take a guess, I guess, but,
Until I get information from them, and I have to, I don't know, I don't even know what the registration numbers were like for them. And that's if they share that information with us. And that would be the Centennial Lions Club. That's who ran the parade last year, previous years.
Well, do you have any idea how you're gonna generate the revenue? I mean, is it just gonna be entry fees? Is that you're gonna?
Entry fees is how they
And so it
generate
seems
all
like
the
you could
revenues.
maybe make some fairly good assumptions there.
Yes. So currently, right now, what I'm in discussions with the senior center volunteers. So volunteers from the senior center are also members of the Centennial Lions Club. Now, they have to find out whether the Lions Club is gonna allow that information to be passed over to us.
well, a couple years ago, I don't remember what year it was, there was an issue with the two Lions clubs and whatever.
East Lake Lions Club and
And the
Centennial,
city,
yes.
they asked the city to
Referee.
and to handle the processing of the funds, not the collection or anything, but the processing of the funds and reporting the expenses. So if we go back a couple years, you should probably be able to get an estimate of what they actually spent and then inflate it for the fact that everything is double in cost.
Yeah, the last estimate I got was $8,500 in revenues. That's what they received out of registration. I don't know if that is correct, but that is.
I don't think it was that much, but then very close.
I wanna go back just to my previous questions about citations and fines.
Yes, sir.
In years past, we've had issues with collection in the courts, we used to run warrant sweeps and all kinds of things to try to recoup some of that. Has that been happening, or is there a report on how much we request? It was pretty awful the last time I saw it. Are we collecting our money better than we were? Is it still? I'd kind of like to understand that, how the courts are operating a little better. It seems like we don't hear much from the court. And
I can have, Mario come in next week.
I would like to
Yeah.
see, and I understand that we can probably go on historical information to the revenues, because that's what we collect, but I'd also like to understand how much we're not collecting, and to see if there's any way to address those issues, because although we're not going to balance, well, we might balance this kind of budget with some improvement in those collections. If it's the way I think it's going to be, so.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll make that arrangement for next week.
What? We got stiff. Like my family.
I have a question for the police after a shift.
Yes.
Chief, the police department and the 911 department get a raise?
Yes, so
Yes?
yes, ma'am,
Okay.
so the dispatchers last year did get their raise, and then this year, we're coming, I think it was agreed last year that we should bring the next increase, the overall rate increase before you guys for your consideration, before we individualize. Yes, so the dispatchers were given their raise last year,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Are there any other questions from council? Keep in mind, this is a budget in process. And,
I hope so.
There are, you know, this is a hefty undertaking, you know, and as we move forward, that's why we have these meetings scheduled, so that way we have our deadlines here and.
So,
Oh, I
at the moment,
do have another question. I'm sorry.
at the moment, are you looking at the no new revenue tax rate? Are you looking at not increasing the tax rate? Are you going to the voter
Not to increase.
not to increase? Yeah. That's kind of what you're trying to do here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I do not want to increase tax at all right now. Give
Well,
and take it to the voter, I mean.
tax rate.
Well, tax rate itself,
Because our
yes.
tax value.
Well, the and the valuations that what the CAD told us that there were a large number of protests this year as well, so that's why our valuations came down as well, so. So that number wasn't as high as we had projected. So. Any other questions from council? No? Thank you so much, ma'am. We have let's see, I don't even know what number we're at number 10, right? 10. So, with that being said, is there a motion to accept the report?
Do we have to?
If nothing else.
Not a final report.
But accept the proposed rate of tax rate.
The proposed,
Well, what is the proposed tax rate? You just said like
The 0.559, 362.
362.
Which is the voter tax.
No, so,
So it comes out to, yeah,
See that?
negative 2 points.
this is a decrease
A
though.
decrease of 2.63 over last year's rate.
On the rate. Okay.
And that's the voter approval rate.
And council, keep in mind that we'll publish the voter approved rate. And if something happens and you all decide you wanna lower, you can always go lower, but you can't go higher. So this gives you a little bit of maneuvering room in case there's things that come up as you refine your budget. So the voter approved rate leaves you a little bit of room of going, you could go to no new revenue if you wanted to later. But we're gonna publish, if you all approve that, we'll publish the voter approved rate.
Okay, so I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
We have a second. Please vote, council.
Aye.
Quiroz?
Aye.
Ortega?
Aye.
Ramírez?
Aye.
Urrutia? Aye. Padilla?
Aye.
Mendoza?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Being there are no further items, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
And we are adjourned. Thank you all so very much. And we will see you in a week.
All it is if you turn it, put it on the other way. This is for women that button on your birth. Yeah. So you have to stop it. So you really just need to take it off. Okay, I didn't want to bring it.
I don't want to bring it either. It's hard to.
No, can't have any more. How bad is it?
And I'll get, a rest.
Yeah, I don't think it's just us, I think it's.
Oh, mercy.
I know, me
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My shoulder hurts.
I, you know, well, you can put them down and but everybody knows that.
I sent you the affidavit.
So turn in the cop in the.
Because right now, well, really,
Yes, sir?
Some chips.
Hey, y'all have a good night. See you. Good day, okay? Take care. Good night, y'all.
Some trial?
And that's it, when they used to have that, right?
Yeah,
Take this special.
No, I went everywhere, but and I got my shingles tonsils shot because I'm on 50. Isn't that crazy? But you know what, it's so funny because it has been so long since we
It must be nice on the
Yeah, it hurts.
But it messed up the neighborhood, you know that, that's why our evaluation was. Yeah.
That is exciting. I went and I'm like, do I get my pneumonia shot too? And they're like, are you high risk? And I'm like, yeah, but I had, well, do I get my shot? And they're like, well, you're high risk. And I'm like, am I high risk? And I'm like, I don't know.
I know, that was, like, no, you're just like, Marcus, how you go talk?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, like, but we can give it to you. I'm like, oh, no.
You gotta really have your ducks in
My son's
order.
get my second.
Yes. And go higher sometimes, but they're like,
No, the shingles, those are shingles, cause I had shingles. When I was little. Oh.
really?
You never got it? Yeah.
How much have you
But
put
my
into
sister
it?
got shingles.
Maybe $5,000.
We should have. Those contracts expire.
No, I gotta sit here. What I'm doing is that I'm maintaining the yard. Because no one knows where to maintain the yard.